Hi again. It's so good you're here. Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever cleaned your house, like really cleaned it? And then the very next day, it somehow looks like you never touched it? That used to be my everyday life. I'd spend hours putting things back, folding laundry, wiping down the kitchen, and by dinner, it all felt undone. It was exhausting, like living in a loop that never ends. So, in today's video, I want to share 12 small but powerful habits that completely changed how my home feels. These aren't big projects. They're things you can do in your regular life even if you're busy, tired, or constantly surrounded by other people's stuff. Yesterday, we talked about how changing how you move through a room, like using the four-corner method, helps you stay focused when tidying. That alone saved me from a lot of wandering around with half-finished piles. But today is about something even more useful. The kind of daily thinking and gentle habits that stop the clutter from coming back in the first place. They're not complicated, they just work. And I'm telling you now, tip number 3. I wish someone had told me that when I first started decluttering. It would have saved me years of frustration. Let's get into it. Number 1. Let's start with something that clutters up our homes faster than we notice the stuff that seems like a good idea when we buy it. You know what I mean? Those clever-looking gadgets or organizers you saw in a reel at midnight. I once bought this smart drawer divider that was supposed to keep my kids' socks organized. It had little elastic loops and compartments. It looked amazing online. But guess what? No one used it. It took longer to fit things into it than to just toss them in neatly. Eventually, I gave up, and it became just another thing to take up space in the drawer. That's when I started asking one question before every purchase. Is this made for real life, or does it just look good in a video? If it's fussy, awkward to clean, or won't actually make my life easier, I pass. Most of the time, I already have something at home that does the job just fine. Since shifting that mindset, I've stopped bringing home clutter disguised as solutions. And surprisingly, I buy less, but use more of what I already have. I'll be sharing more of these hidden clutter traps in tomorrow's video, including one item we all think is helping but secretly adds chaos. So stay tuned for that. Now let's move to something more personal. How to reconnect with the space you already live in, even if you've kind of fallen out of love with it. Have you ever walked through your house and felt disconnected from it, like you're grateful to have a roof over your head, but it just doesn't feel like you anymore? That's exactly how I felt a few years ago. Somewhere between toys on every surface, a kitchen counter I hadn't seen clear in weeks, and a bathroom that doubled as a laundry station, I realized this wasn't the home I once dreamed about. So I tried something small. I picked one corner of our living room, the one I see first when I walk downstairs, and I cleared it. Not perfectly. I just took out the things that didn't belong there. Then I added one thing I loved, a photo of my kids playing in the garden. That's it. That tiny shift reminded me of what I wanted this home to feel like: light, warm, lived in but not overrun. If your space feels dull or chaotic, try this. Pick one area, a nightstand, a shelf, the entry table, and ask, what did I hope this would feel like when I moved in? Then take away whatever's hiding that feeling. It's not about getting new furniture or repainting walls. It's about clearing space for the version of home you actually want to live in. Next, let's make decluttering decisions easier with one method that stops the overthinking before it even starts. You know that moment when you're just standing in front of a drawer, frozen, like you're holding a pair of scissors with a broken handle, thinking, well, technically, it still cuts. Meanwhile, the drawer won't even close. That used to be me. I'd get stuck debating over every single item like I was on some emotional episode of Keep or Toss. So I made a rule. The ABC rule. A is for things you actually use, the MVPs of your home. B is stuff that's helpful but not crucial. And CC is for can probably live without, or honestly completely forgot I owned. Real example: in my bathroom drawer, I had 3 hairbrushes. One I used every morning, clearly an A. One I kept just in case my favorite one went missing, a solid B. And the third, it had bristles pointing in 5 directions and gave me more frizz than volume. Definitely a C. I think I even apologized to my hair after throwing it out. The moment I stopped overthinking and just labeled things truthfully, I could declutter way faster and without the guilt hangover. It's weirdly satisfying too. Like finally giving yourself permission to say, yeah, I don't need this chaos in my drawer. All right, now that we've cleared some mental clutter, let's talk about time. Specifically, what to do when you only have 10 minutes and a toddler hanging off your leg. Some days I don't want to tidy, I just want the mess to stop growing. The laundry can wait, the dishes can wait, but I still need some part of the house to not feel like a disaster zone. That's where the 10-minute habit came in, not to make everything perfect, but to stop things from getting worse. I started giving myself 10 minutes before we leave the house and 10 when we come back. Before we head out, I do a mini reset. I fold the blanket back on the couch, toss stray toys into a basket, and put my keys where I'll actually find them later. That's it. No big production. When we get home, it's the same thing, unpacking bags, putting away snacks, throwing out the school flyer I already know I won't read. Once I found 2 rocks and a moldy tangerine at the bottom of my son's backpack. That was the last time I said I'll deal with it later. This little buffer, 10 minutes and 10 minutes out, keeps things from snowballing. It's the difference between walking into a space that feels manageable and one that makes you want to walk right back out. Now, what if you want to tidy a whole room, but every time you start, you end up bouncing between 5 different corners and never finish anything? There's a way around that too. It's so easy to get pulled in every direction when you're trying to tidy. You pick up a mug in the living room, take it to the kitchen, and somehow end up reorganizing the junk drawer before realizing the living room is still a mess. That used to happen to me constantly. I'd feel like I was cleaning for hours, but nothing actually looked finished. The room still felt chaotic. So I gave myself one simple rule: start in one corner and don't move on until it's done. Literally pick a corner, the one by the door, the window, wherever, and move clockwise. No skipping, no jumping between zones, just a slow loop around the room. It sounds almost too basic, but it works. The focus keeps my brain calm, and I can actually see the progress building. One time I did this in my daughter's room, and she noticed. "It looks different already," she said, and I hadn't even gotten halfway around. Finishing one corner gives you that quick win. And sometimes that's all you need to keep going. But what if you don't want to declutter at all? Not because you're lazy, but because you're afraid you'll go too far. That's what we're going to talk about next. There's this weird pressure that shows up once you start decluttering, like suddenly you have to be a minimalist, a one spoon, one bowl kind of person. But what if you like your books? Or you enjoy rotating 5 pairs of cozy pajamas? That doesn't make you messy, it makes you human. I used to feel guilty about keeping things I genuinely liked. My kids have a big bin of dress-up clothes. They don't wear them every day, but when they do, it's magic. I'm not getting rid of that just to meet some imaginary standard of less is better. The truth is, every home has different needs, and every season of life feels different too. When my kids were babies, I needed more backups. Now that they're older, I'm fine with less, but I never force it. If something brings joy, comfort, or even just convenience, I keep it no shame. What I learned is this: you don't have to clear out the things you love. Focus on the stuff you don't care about. For me, that meant simplifying my makeup drawer, my inbox, and that one kitchen cabinet full of mystery lids, not my baking tools or my watercolors. Decluttering isn't about proving anything. It's about creating space where it matters to you so that your home feels more like home, not a showroom. And once you stop trying to declutter everything, you can finally start noticing what's quietly sneaking in and whether it really deserves a place. Sometimes clutter doesn't come from what we already have. It comes from what we keep bringing in without noticing. You don't even realize it's happening until you open a drawer and think, wait, when did I buy all this? I had to learn to pause before I buy. Not in a dramatic, restrictive way, just enough to check in with myself. Now, whenever I feel that urge to click Add to Cart, I stop and ask, am I buying this because I need it? Or because I'm bored, stressed, or trying to feel better about something else? There was a week where I ordered 3 different planners. I told myself it was about productivity, but honestly I was overwhelmed and hoping that a new notebook would fix it. It didn't. Since then, I started keeping a short wish list in my phone. If I still want the item in a few days and it fits my space and my budget, I'll get it. But most of the time I forget it even existed. That small pause has saved me from bringing home so many meh items that would have ended up as clutter and guilt. Now that we've slowed the inflow, let's look at what's already taking up space, especially the stuff we barely use but still keep out of habit. You know that moment when you're digging through a closet and come across something you completely forgot you owned, and your first reaction isn't, "Oh, yay, it's, oh, this thing." That's the sign. That's the moment that tells you this item isn't adding value, it's just taking up space. One thing that helped me was asking myself, what percentage of this am I actually using? I started with my wardrobe, but you can apply this anywhere: kitchen gadgets, hobby supplies, even bathroom products. In my case, I had over 40 mugs. 40. And we're a family of 4. But when I really looked, we rotated between the same 5 or 6. The rest were just in case, gifts, or kind of cute. I donated over half of them, and surprise, we never missed them. Same thing happened with my nail polishes. I had a whole basket but only used 2 colors ever. The rest just sat there getting sticky and separated. This tiny question, how much of this do I actually use, is a powerful filter. It's not about being harsh. It's about being honest and giving yourself permission to let go of things that once made sense but don't anymore. And when you clear out what you don't use, you end up enjoying what you do use so much more because it's not buried under layers of maybe someday anymore. In the next section, we'll shift from what we use to how we store and why organizing too much can backfire. Have you ever spent an entire afternoon organizing a drawer, only for it to look chaotic again 2 days later? You buy dividers, tiny boxes, maybe even label things, and still it doesn't stay that way. I used to think I just needed a better system. If I just sorted it right, the mess wouldn't come back. But eventually I realized the problem wasn't the organizing, it was that I had too much stuff in the first place. At one point, I had a drawer in our hallway with 5 different categories of batteries. I made little cardboard sections and everything. It looked great. For about a week. Then someone dumped a flashlight in there and the whole thing fell apart. And honestly, no one in my house ever needed to know which batteries were AA or Chepa A or probably dead, but maybe still okay. That drawer wasn't messy because we were lazy, it was messy because it was overloaded. It was never going to stay organized no matter how well I labeled it. So now I don't organize until I've decluttered first, and I only organize what's truly worth keeping. If a space is hard to maintain, it usually means it's holding more than it needs to. You don't need a perfect label system. You need less stuff that needs managing. And honestly, the less you have to set up, the more your systems actually last. In the next section, I'll show you how a super simple checklist helped me keep moving even on days when I barely had the energy to finish my coffee. It's hard to make progress when everything feels like it has to happen all at once. You walk into the kitchen and suddenly feel like you should declutter the drawers, clear the pantry, wipe the cabinets, and maybe repaint the walls while you're at it. That used to be my trap. I'd either go into full-on cleaning mode or do nothing at all. There was no in-between. So I started keeping a super short checklist. Not a to-do list for the whole house. Just 5 or 6 tiny zones: the junk bowl by the door, the MISC shelf in the fridge, the mug cabinet I avoid opening. Areas I could tackle in 10-15 minutes even if I had a toddler climbing on me, or dinner half prepped. One Saturday, I cleared just the front half of our kitchen junk drawer, not the whole thing, just the first section. That tiny win gave me energy to come back to it the next day. It didn't feel like a burden, it felt like momentum. Now, I keep that list on my phone. When I have a small pocket of time or the urge to get something done, I don't waste energy deciding where to start, I just pick the next one. Progress isn't about doing everything. It's about doing something consistently. Up next, we're going to shift from doing to not doing and look at what happens when you finally stop chasing aesthetic perfection. There's a certain kind of pressure that comes from watching too many Clean With Me videos or scrolling through curated home tours. Everything looks neutral, spotless, coordinated like clutter never existed. And then, you look around your own space and think, am I doing it wrong? The truth is, most real homes, the kind with families, pets, school bags, and late dinners, don't look like that, and they're not supposed to. I remember trying to copy a perfectly styled open shelf I saw online. I cleared mine, added a little plant, lined up 3 neutral mugs, and instantly hated it. It didn't feel like us. I missed the mismatched mugs we'd collected over the years. I missed the warmth. That's when it clicked. Decluttering isn't about stripping away your personality. It's about removing the noise around the things that actually matter. So if your home has color or mess or kids' artwork taped to the fridge, that's not failure. That's life. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is feeling at peace when you walk into your space. And peace doesn't require beige storage bins or matching baskets. In the final section, we're going to talk about one last habit, the one that actually stops clutter from creeping back in without you noticing. You ever feel like your house is slowly filling up again, even after you've done a major declutter? Like one day it's clear, and a week later, the counters are full, the hallway's got new piles, and you're wondering, wait, didn't I just clean this? That's the sneaky part. Clutter doesn't always arrive in one big wave, it trickles in. A freebie from school, a random sale item, a hand-me-down you didn't really want, but felt bad saying no to. What changed everything for me was learning to slow the inflow. Now, before I bring anything home, even if it's free or cute or on sale, I pause. I ask, do I have a place for this? Will I use it this week? Do I even like it, or am I just avoiding saying no? One time I accepted a whole bag of extra kitchen stuff from a well-meaning friend. Half of it stayed in the bag for months. When I finally opened it, I realized I had no use for any of it. And it had been silently taking up space the whole time. So now I say no more often, kindly but firmly. I don't buy just in case. And I remind myself if something comes in, something else needs to go. When you protect your space before it fills up, you don't have to spend so much time emptying it again. That small habit, guarding the door instead of always cleaning the mess, is what finally gave me room to breathe. So those are the 12 small habits that changed everything for me, not overnight, but over time. They're the little things that keep my home feeling calm even on messy days. If you're tired of starting over or always feeling one step behind, just pick one to try. Don't wait for a perfect weekend. Even a few minutes today can shift the way your home feels tomorrow. And if you want help with where to start, I've made a separate video that walks you through decluttering by area: kitchen counters, toy zones, bathroom drawers, all the usual trouble spots. It's linked right after this one. If this video helped you feel lighter, more in control, or just a bit more hopeful, I'd love if you hit like, share it with a friend, or subscribe for more. Because you deserve a home that feels like it's on your side, not one more thing to manage.